I really want to talk with you about your history, your background, how you happen to be here.
My background is I'm a U.S. Army Special Operations veteran. I joined as a young man. I joined when I was around 17 years old. So I started my life in the military. It built a really good foundation for me. After the military, I never stopped enhancing my skills. I never stopped working on my abilities and working with military members and law enforcement and also civilians. But I focused more on business for myself, and that did really well for me. So it gave me the ability to travel and the freedom to be able to come to Ukraine in a time like this and help out.
You mentioned that you joined the military in 17, and now you're
37.
37.
Yeah. So it's a long time, and so and I think that's where a lot of people, whenever they get out of the military, they just kind of get fat, get lazy. They stop working on their skills, and I never knew if I would ever need those skills again for the rest of my life. I never knew if I was going to end up going back to a combat zone like we are now. I didn't know if I was going to need it for anything, local in the U.S., anything like that. But I always felt that I didn't want to let that piece of my past go. I wanted to continue to enhance my abilities and my skills and make myself better. So continue to work on my gear, the technology, all the latest equipment that we could utilize, and basically keep my combat effectiveness up. And then when this situation happened in Ukraine, I was like, well, I've got the experience, I've got the history, and I've got the current training. I think I can help out in a different way, because it's one thing if you want to come here to Ukraine and just be, a one-gun guy, right? It's different if you want to come here and be like an instructor or do something where you're teaching and helping, a copious amount of people. Because when you do that, you're affecting a wide group of people, right? So your total impact is
much wider.
Yeah, is much wider, much greater. So for me, having instructors, having people that know a little bit, that can come here and train, whether it's combat lifesaver courses or it's tactics or whatever the case might be, that to me is a pretty big impact versus just being one gun on the battlefield. Although we do the one gun on the battlefield operations, it's part of the job.
Very neat thing that you just mentioned, that improving yourself constantly is also like one of the core values of our unit, the Azov Brigade, because it was the backbone of our training system. And first step to train a good soldier is to train him how to train. Yes, and then it will be like self-continuous and self-supported process and self-sustained process, and also will affect on his fellows, on his brothers, because if there is a bunch of people who do the same, they can do much more. And I'm really glad and happy that you share the same ideas that we do. And like right now we are combined in one unit. Regarding the ideas of like just one guy in a battlefield, this means a lot about the mindset perspective. Yeah, because a lot of people, they are just narrowing down their potential. Sometimes it's good or bad, it doesn't matter, but sometimes they're limiting their responsibilities to be just one guy on a battlefield. But to provide people with knowledge, emergency medical treatment, with practical shooting, with tactical skills, with all other variety of tech skills that you can do and you do, is much bigger responsibility, and it's very noble, I guess.
So that's one of the things. And the Ukrainians actually understanding that, knowing that there are people that are coming in that are skilled, that can help train. And yeah, there's a language barrier, but something as simple as putting an interpreter with the trainer, right? Or taking someone that was a good soldier, that knows what they're doing, and taking them and turning them into an instructor, or having them help teach. That's a big deal, because I think a lot of the people that are coming here, foreigners, regardless of where they're coming from in the world, they may not even know that they're a good trainer. They may not even know that they have the abilities to help a copious amount of people. Their first intent was to come here to Ukraine and just help in the fight. They're like, just give me a gun, I'll help fight, right? Just where do I need to be? Put me in a foxhole.
So please tell a little bit more about you, probably your family.
So I have one dead brother, one that's still alive, and I have my parents, no wife, no kids, pretty small family. So in the U.S. it's different than Ukraine when it comes to the family dynamic. One thing that I love about a lot of foreign countries other than America, America is actually pretty bad at it. I hate to say that, but it's one of our weaknesses, to be honest. We don't have the family structures that places like Ukraine do, where you have multi-generational families living together in very tight-knit communities. In America, it's much smaller families, and we don't stay as connected. We could go years without seeing our brother that lives literally down the street from us. So it's a different environment.
It's about, I guess, personal independence.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, why did you choose to come to Ukraine?
So initially, I was going to come just for medical support. I didn't know if I was going to be part of I think they're called like the medical engineers, or whatever their name is. I assumed that would be where I was best suited, was something to help medical, something, combat lifesaver type stuff, whatever. And then whenever I got here, it started to change very quickly. Just before I got here, I was talking with the GUR and got accepted for one of the teams there, Rogue team, a good group of guys. And then whenever I got in country, it kind of changed last minute. And then next thing you know, I was going to coming to Azov, and didn't even know what Azov was at that time, but coming there for that. But initially it's for medical, and then once I got here and started training with the teams and like the different Special Forces teams and such, I guess they wanted me to be on a team and help out on a team, and started work there, and then we started doing the training. Initially medical, and then it transitioned very quickly more into a combat role and being on an actual team and helping out there, which I'm happy with because really there's a good mix now between combat operations and actual training. So we're getting that really healthy mix of combat, and then once we do that, we learn a few things, some things maybe that we didn't experience before. We get to go back and also help train either other special operations teams, or we get to train like new recruits to Azov on things that lessons learned, things that we learned in the battlefield. So.
You hold your shit up! Don't f your battle buddy. Let's go! Shut up! You get back down in the trench. You two back down in the trench. You think this is fun now and you're smiling, but you won't be smiling in a month when the Russians are shooting at you and you're getting shelled. You understand? We want to weed out the weak soldiers. So there's a lot of people that come here and come to training, come to Azov. They want to be cool, but they're not ready for the experience. They're not ready for what's actually going to be required of them as actual soldiers. So this is to weed out the weak soldiers and keep only the strong soldiers. So. Yeah, we try to simulate a combat event, crawling through the trench as much as possible, but nothing is going to prepare them for the real war. We will do our best, so we stress them out as much as possible, and that's my point, is by the end of the training course, there were soldiers that were ready for combat and they were ready to go. So the whole goal is just to get these guys up and trained and ready for war.
Well, a very complex and proper understanding of the good utilization of the skills, and self-fulfillment, because like you have a particular set of skills, like a very wide one, both for combat, for training, for the CLS, for the tech support, for all variety of stuff, and a good instructorship. It's sometimes much more effective and valuable than the providing Ukraine with weaponry, because knowledge is the best weapon. And when we have like the tempo of and the pace of the combat like we have right now, like a very high intensity, high maneuverability of combat, monstrous amounts of people who are involved in the combat, and these people need training. And also it's important part, because if you use your infantry with a lack of skills, well, it will be soon infantry with casualties, and a good trained unit is the unit that survives. And these are also like one of our main core values. Like we care about people who are in our pack, and we're not just expanding them.
Yeah.
And providing them with the proper training is the best and the first step to keep these people safe. It results that people on the battlefield can trust each other. They can think about the tactical situations and about the proper problems on the battlefield than just worrying about, will this guy fail me or not? Because like for us, it's most of the time it's not a question for us, because we trust each other and we know who are in our pack.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the things that I've noticed from the training aspect is there were a lot of guys that were weak in knowledge, and they had a hard time. They didn't have the confidence right when they started, and some guys that actually went in and did some combat operations to start, and maybe weren't ready for the combat operations, and had a very difficult time, and after going through different training and getting motivated doing those things, they have a different sense of confidence now, right? In going back out into combat with these different individuals, you can see the change in them. You can see that they're more confident now. It's not that they had even been in combat and they came back out. It's that they had a copious amount of training in that time span where they weren't in combat, and that helped them with the confidence to go in knowing that whatever they face, they're at least going to have the training for. They're at least going to know what they need to do in that scenario. So, and that kind of goes back down to having your SOPs, your standard operating procedures, built into your teams and into your units. They know what to expect. They know what to do when they're hit with a certain situation.
And they don't confuse.
Yeah, and they don't get confused. Yeah, so their responsiveness is better, their combat effectiveness is better, their motivation is better, and their overall just sense of confidence is better. You can see it when they go in. You can see it when they come out. Their eyes don't look the same now as they did before. You
see, the sensation of first combat fight, is like a great initiation event for the person who joins military. But if you base your confidence on your skill and training level, it's not just like to convince yourself to be confident. It's a true confidence.
Yeah.
Also, regarding the unit, what was your thoughts about joining Azov? Why did you choose us?
So joining Azov was kind of an accident at first. I would say it wasn't a choice at first, right? Because I didn't know what Azov was at the time. Whenever I got off the train in Kiev and I was going to the GOR unit, that's whenever everything changed. Like literally, as I got off the train, the GR unit, the rogue team, they had a pretty bad night in Bakhmut. So the team kind of went different ways, and some of those people.
Intensive combat.
Yeah, intensive combat in Bakhmut. So that's when they transitioned. They went to a few of them stayed, and then a few of them went to Azov. And so the people that I was connected with and the people that I've been talking to were the people that went to Azov. So I just trusted their word. They said it's a great unit. They're true warriors and soldiers, professional. They're not drunk out on the front lines. They're not out doing stupid stuff. They're like a good professional unit. So then I came to Azov and
you witnessed it with your own eyes.
With my own eyes. And so I didn't want to, because there's a lot of misconceptions about Azov. I didn't know any of these to begin with. I didn't want to take any outside influence. I just wanted to learn who Azov was and what they were, and found a bunch of really solid soldiers, a bunch of really solid heroes and warriors that really just want to protect their country and the values of Ukraine. I've seen no hatred towards anyone else other than an aggressor against Ukraine, and other than that, it's been a great experience working with Azov.
It's great words to hear.
Yeah.
It was a great luck for you to have a blank page regarding our units and to compose your own perception, because the amount of lies, misconceptions, rumors based basically on nothing, or rather on Russian propaganda around our unit is huge. To say at least. A heavy raining interrupted us.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we managed to find a nice place. We've been talking just before about the huge amount of Russian propaganda and misconceptions regarding our unit. I'm really interested to hear your own perspective on that, because you mentioned that you composed your own perception and your own point of view, like disregarding all of the external factors, and it is a unique and great experience. And what can you tell more?
So whenever I first came to the unit, again, I didn't know what to expect, but whenever I started giving training, from the first moment I got to my tent, everyone was incredibly kind and helpful. Some of the nicest people I think I've ever met in my life, honestly, in some of these locations. So I had a great experience and have had a great experience and continue to have a great experience with Azov and everyone that I've met within Azov. So I haven't had any bad feelings about anyone here or anyone within the unit. Yeah, just nothing but kind-hearted people that are very ready to fight at a moment's notice if someone threatens Ukraine.
Tell me a little bit more about your personal combat role.
Our group is a Special Forces Recon team. So for us, we do special missions if we need to go out and recon certain areas, or if we need to go help out on the front lines in the trenches with the infantry to help motivate or assist where necessary. And then we may have some other special type missions, but basically special purpose missions, and then also going out and doing some work on the front lines. If we know that there's some Russians in a certain area, then it's our job to go out and use our equipment. We have our thermals and our night vision systems, and we're very well equipped to operate in the night, like most special operations units, obviously. So we have a special set of skills on our team, and very well trained to operate at night. And so, during the twilight periods and the night, when people are moving around, we see them and we go to work.
So you utilize the principle own the night, yeah?
Yeah, the we own the night, yeah.
Well, I might also say that Russians on our direction is very also well trained and equipped, because we've seen a lot of the highly experienced enemy, and you should never underestimate your enemy. So that's why you should train yourself first of all.
Yeah.
So a lot of special stuff that you're providing
Yeah.
and you're doing. And also, is that a Ukrainian AR-15?
Yes, Ukrainian AR-15.
Can you show it?
Yeah. So it's a Ukrainian AR-15, and these are items that were supplied by Azov. So Ukrainian AR-15. It's this is actually my buttstock from the U.S. A Ukrainian suppressor, lightweight, works great, even fully auto-rated. I keep a backup sight on here. And then this is obviously it's like a PEC box. It's basically our infrared laser, our infrared illuminator for that.
As a package.
Yeah, and then we have our special dust cover that we use for the sand. Obviously so much sand here, so make sure we don't have any malfunctions in the field. And then we have, this is actually a US Pulsar sight mark thermal scope. So good to about, I've shot it out to 300 meters accurately the size of about a volleyball or a basketball. But yeah, it can definitely hit out to 500 meters. So definitely very, very reliable system. And nothing can really hide from us out there. And as far as the night vision systems, we obviously have night vision systems that work very well. Helmet mounted systems. So that in conjunction with our PEC boxes, and our thermal systems, yeah, there's really no one that can hide from us at night.
Sounds good. And what can you say about the quality of the mechanism of Ukrainian ARs?
So I was concerned at first because I heard that it was a pretty recent, clone replica. So I was kind of concerned about its functionality. There's some of the stuff actually is U.S. stamped stuff. So some of the barrel and some other things came from U.S. companies.
Barrel and the ball carrier group is from the Daniel Defense.
Yeah, from Daniel Defense. Yeah. I didn't want to name drop. From Daniel Defense. So I actually took out the bolt carrier group and I used a ultra lightweight nickel boron. It's better for jams and things like that.
Nice.
So it helps out.
Well, I heard like some information about the sand can kill any type of weapon. Yeah, it can jam anything. And a lot of guys, like with other ARs, like they've been having some of the malfunctions.
Yeah.
But after the sand drops to the magazine, yeah. But if you drop the sand into magazine, even for the AK, it will cause a malfunction.
Yes, so I would say that's a great thing. So I would actually say the one thing that I would recommend that everybody does on their AR-15s, UAR-15s, M4s is the dust cover. So on your dust cover, like this is where there's just basically a big gap here. And what I see is, as people are stomping around, moving through the trenches, they'll drop their rifle or something, and then sand will just get in here so fast. And once it gets in here, now it's all in here. All it takes is one cycle, and you get all kinds of sand in there, and I'll start to see jams because of that. But everybody on our team, what we've done, and we've experienced no jams since. We tape up. We use cloth tape, not like regular duct tape, but we use like a cloth type tape that can form, and we basically stick it inside here and put it over the cover, and that stopped, I would say, 95% of the sand that would cause jamming issues inside the rifle itself. That was like a day one we threw that on there, so that's worked out tremendously. As far as magazines go, I haven't really had much.
I will do
issues.
the same on mine.
Yeah.
Azov Media Educational. The more you know.
Yeah, but as far as magazines go, we haven't really seen a lot of sand entering through here, obviously, so that's not a really big deal. And as long as you're storing your stuff face down in your pouches, you're going to be pretty much good to go. I haven't seen any issues, and I've literally been dragging and crawling around and crawling on my belly through the sand, and so I haven't seen any issues with reloading or any weapon jams from that. So the main point of error that I've seen has been through here, the main issue for sand. So you take care of that and you'll be good to go.
Great point. You've been trained in military for the proper standards of EMT, ITLS?
CLS.
CLS, yeah. Great.
But before we go too far into that, I do want to take a step back because to talk about Azov and the perception of Azov, I haven't seen anywhere, and people don't realize that there are other people and other cultures within Azov. They don't realize that there are so many different cultures within Azov, as far as like myself, right, and where I'm from. And
that's like we have in Ukraine.
Yeah, people don't see this though in the outside media, right? Azov gets this bad perception, and it's not warranted. And Russia was very effective in their media campaign, in their bashing campaign, and it did keep Azov from getting proper military aid and proper military training, and so I hope that can change. I hope that can change sooner than later, so that Azov can actually get the proper training and equipment and gear that everyone else in Ukraine's getting, because we have a great fighting force here, a great group of warriors, professional soldiers. These guys aren't out on the front lines getting drunk. They aren't doing stupid things. These are professional soldiers, and they're lacking the proper aid and the better equipment and materials to fight this war. And we're fighting with an arm tied behind our back, if you will. So hopefully we can get to the point where we can get past this negative media that's just false propaganda from Russia.
Well, I hope it will happen eventually, because like a huge amount of efforts were invested to break through these myths and lies. A lot of international campaigns, a lot of the conferences, visits, like me also, like I was in the UN on the hearing about the Russian atrocities and the war crimes, and I had a couple of speeches on the different stages or platforms, like in Davos in this year after my release from captivity, also in the UN, in Berlin, in Paris, and everywhere I was well recognized by people and welcomed. Yeah, for me this means a lot, because like the people, the real ones, they know what happens in the real life. And people who are out of context, who are building up their ideas or perspective and perception based on the misconceptions, or rather Russian lies, they can be confused. And to let this confusion disappear, like we are we're crystal clear and transparent. Yeah, like in the last, I think 2 years, like we're showing everything that happens inside the structure of the unit. Yeah, it's not like something like a closed secret organization or something obscure like this. No, it's not. We are very transparent, and this is also the key for us to gain new people, new recruits in Ukraine. A lot of people in Ukraine, like we know, couple of languages, at least 3. Yeah, so it will be like Ukrainian, sometimes Russian, but just as the tool for communication. A lot of people know English, so I think for you it was not a big problem to communicate with people.
No, it's pretty easy to communicate with people, especially within the unit. Yeah, a lot of people knew English. A lot of the recruits that we get, the younger guys, they know English as well. The medical staff, all the ladies on the medical staff as well, very well versed in English. I think some of them speak better English than some of the Americans I know. So, yeah, it's been good. Yeah.
So we have all of the tools that we need to be a big part of the rest of the free world, but the enemy interference was very, very serious throughout all of this decade, like since the beginning of the Maidan Revolution. I'm really glad that you felt good feelings and you felt welcome here, because for us it's very important.
And for me, you know, I'm from a smaller town in a what we'll call a very country style southern United States kind of environment. So everybody's very, very nice, very polite. You can walk into somebody's house, they're going to offer you some sweet tea, you know, and talk to you about anything. And I felt the same way here. Whenever you know, the very first time I went to the chow hall, you know, I went to go eat something. Everybody was offering, you know, their food and their drinks and whatever they had. Even if it's the only thing that they had, they would still offer it. Like say they had a soda, and you know, the pay's not amazing here, right? People are here to fight, not to make money. So yeah, you know, it may be the only soda they have that week or something, and they're willing to offer you to drink from the same bottle. Like they don't care. There's no hostilities towards that. So yeah, it's been a great experience, and everybody's been very, very kind and very welcoming, and it feels just like home, and it feels just like family. So it's good. They're very accommodating of foreigners as well. So that, I think that's another thing that I was concerned with before I came, is how concerned they would be with and how facilitating they would be of foreigners coming in to fight. You know, whenever I came to Azov, they wanted to make sure everybody was very well trained. They went through an assessment selection process to make sure that not only we knew what we were doing, but that we could work effectively with you know, a foreign team that's also speaking multiple languages, because there are some language barriers that have to be overcome on the battlefield. So they did a very good job, and Azov did, I mean, an amazing job of taking in foreigners, facilitating that, training, assessing, doing a selection process, weeding out the ones that they don't want, taking the ones that they do want, and then finding a perfect team and match, and then also a battle buddy system for those people. So it was a very, very well put together process. So I definitely say if anybody's wanting to come to a unit in Ukraine and is serious, a professional, not some tourist or not some you know, crazy person or something, like, we will assess you and we will take you out of the mix. You will not be a part of Azov, the assessment and selection process.
Correct.
Right. So, but yeah, if they're professionals, we want professionals. We need war fighters. We need you know, medical staff. We need anybody that we can get that's a professional, that's going to come here, not embarrass themselves and not embarrass their country. Come here and make their country proud, make themselves proud, and make Ukraine proud.
Great words. Just, you know, I cannot even imagine like a better recruitment sentence. Because like it's your first-hand experience, yeah, as a perspective and perception of experienced, combat-proven military veteran, yeah, with very, very wide and long both military and civilian experience in your life. What I hear from you is that our attempts and ideas and approaches to reach the goal, to establish the proper system, to maintain the people safe, well trained, equipped, is the good one. Yeah, because for us, the people in our pack, the people in our unit values the most. Yeah, if something in the system doesn't work properly, yeah, it's a great liability. Yeah, and it should be cured. It should be fixed. It's the key to progress and the key to success. You know, I've been like describing this to you, and I just remembered that one of our main advantages, I guess, throughout all these 9 years of war was that we were reinventing sometimes, yeah, the standard procedures that were already established in the army, but we've been doing this better in a more humane way, in a more efficient way, with lesser people involved, probably with the main focus on the result, but not on the process or some bureaucracy or other stuff. This gave us the results. One of the results for this was the Battle of Mariupol. Very, very small amount of soldiers, like it's a little bit more than 1,000. We managed to hold the at least 25,000 military group of Russian troops near the Mariupol and to hold them back. And well, the military officials, they told us that we won at least 2 months for the country to regroup and to combine the forces and the power to strike back. And when I returned to Ukraine from captivity, it was a great surprise for me that we're still standing. And it was a great joy that I knew that we reconquered the territory in the Kharkiv counteroffensive operation. And like right now, we are actually in the process of the counteroffensive operation throughout the country. And I hope it will go further and further.
Yeah, from what I've seen on the front lines and in the trenches, it's we're definitely doing a lot better than I thought we would be doing in the current circumstances with the equipment that we have. Been doing quite amazing, and I've been very impressed with the abilities, especially with Azov and what we have available to us, and how well we do with what we have available to us. It's like Azov just makes it work. It's I won't say it's comical, but it's amazing to me how Azov can take whatever they have and they're just like, we're gonna make it work, and they just make it work, and we still get the job done. So yeah, it's quite impressive.
Where are we going? Where? Which way? This way? That's it. Let's move. Yeah, maybe we move now.
Well, the improvisation is one of the standard military types of solving problems. Yeah, but improvisation cannot be the best way when you have access to some proper equipment or proper gear, because like we really get used to work with the Soviet obsolete weaponry. Yeah, we've been mastering our craft like till the very edge, yeah, of the technical requirements and technical specifications of this equipment. But still, though, like right now, the Ukraine is receiving a lot of modern Western weaponry, and it would be like a great chance for us to have some of these pieces. And like right now, throughout all of the front, the situation is not stable. We're receiving good news, yeah, but the next day there might be the bad ones. And peace can be gained only through superior firepower. It's the axiom that every military person knows. Yeah, it's not just a game of political statements and slogans that can be watched on the TV or somewhere in the media, that the people constantly watching the war like a reality show. Yeah, it's not. It's a matter of lives. It's a matter of health of people that are losing health. It's a matter of their personal dramas and tragedies that also appear all the time. The best weapon that we have is the brave soldiers. Tanks cannot be working remotely. Yeah. The rockets cannot be like guided without any personnel that's in the crew of the weapon system. Yeah, and the enemy front line cannot be breaking through, and the territory cannot be taken back without infantry.
Yeah.
Yes, and without infantry and the other ground units. The firepower can give you the advantage in the upper hand,
Yeah.
but still you need people to walk in and recapture that territory.
Yeah, and it's impressive to me how motivated, because the front lines are tragic. They're not. I mean, it's not fun, right? The trenches are not fun, and it's surprising to me, and it's motivational to me, actually motivating to me, how motivated the soldiers actually are to get out there and get the job done and get to work. So for example, it was myself and Dante, and we were headed out to the front, and we had a group of guys going to do some work in some of the very frontline trenches, and as we're headed out, I was trying to I'm used to giving like motivational speeches to the guys before we go do something. It's like, hey, we're about to face a bad situation, and try to make sure that they got the right mental state and that they're ready to get to work. And so I started trying to motivate the guys and seeing how they were doing, their mental state, and where they were, and if they were good to go. And it's funny because it was being translated through Dante, and they came back, and Dante said, it's like, hey man, the guys said they're motivated. They don't need any additional motivated. They're ready to get to work on the Russians. And I was like, okay, great, awesome. So yeah, it's like, so to see that every time we go out day after day, facing bad odds, bad things, going out and seeing bad things, and to go back, and then get back in a vehicle, head back out to the front, and to still be that motivated going out the next day and the day after that and the day after that. It's motivating to me as well. So yeah, the soldiers out here are motivated at a level that I'm not used to seeing. So that's very good.
Inspiring inspiration.
Yeah. Yeah.
And which causes the self-sustaining reaction.
Yeah.
Of motivation, because Ukrainians, we fight for our country, and for the people who are who spend a lot of time in military, who serve like me and like my other fellow friends, like years literally, it's not even a question. For the new guys, sometimes it's the point that should be described, but when they realize, their true motivation, when they know how it appears and from what it goes, it becomes crystal clear, and these people become fierce warriors.
Yeah.
Doing that way, you will raise each other, and you will be the collective, you will be the team. And I've seen a lot of that way of motivation and sustaining in Mariupol and in many other situations in years before. And I'm seeing these right now throughout our soldiers, and through the words that you're saying, because these are very basic principles that works like a clock, like a good clock.
Yeah, and the one thing that we as leaders have to make sure that we manage are the soldiers, that if there are some unmotivated soldiers, because to this the counter to that is when you have a soldier that's unmotivated, they're like a virus. You have to be careful, because they can start to demotivate everyone around them with negative thoughts.
Toxicity.
Toxicity. Yeah. So that's one of the things that has to be managed. And the good thing is I haven't seen that, actually. I haven't seen that in one soldier here. Not one single soldier. I've seen that here. So
well,
good.
I will unveil a bit to you. That they are everywhere. They can be found everywhere, but we are trying to maintain them on a relatively small amount, because it's the part of the commander's work. To be a good gardener. It's one of the also procedures from the training for the military officers in the U.S. This allegory about the gardener. The unmotivated soldier doesn't mean that it's a bad soldier. It's just a soldier with the hard situation, maybe with improper treatment. And the good commander, as we have, like experienced one, he will see that if somebody have like these roots of toxic demotivational virus, and it will help. It will help, because what I learned from the army, that you're not choosing people to work with. You work with the people that you have.
Exactly.
And the key to success is to create that collective. There will be no like the guy from the top, some kind of higher executive that he will like bring you the best team ever, yeah, top tier special force operators with the best equipment as possible, best supply chain, without any flaws. No, no, no. There are basically no collectives like this. They doesn't exist. But what collectives are exist? The good ones that made by the guys who can maintain themselves, yeah, and grow. Yeah, grow. So, as the conclusion, what can you tell to the rest of the fighters, for the people who hesitate, both Ukrainians or foreigners, doesn't matter?
If you can fight, fight. If you can't fight, help in any way you can. If you can't help, then donate. And if you can't donate, then keep us in your prayers.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.